management consultant, so I have to think about everything in the form of a 2x2 matrix or plotted on a chart. So if you think about skill level, and by skill level I mean, it's probably hard for some of you to read back there, but the skill level I mean your sales skills, right? What your sales skills are like, and you know how skilled you are as far as training as a salesperson, right? And plot that against activity. I can almost assuredly map your, what are you doing with that?
Taping.
I can almost assuredly map you, your success based on your skill level and your activity, right? So the reality is that, now let's make it my favorite 2x2 matrix. I'd ask you to kind of map yourself on this, where your skill level is versus where your activity level is. There are folks in this bucket down here, right, who have low skill, low activity, right? These folks are probably not going to be super successful in sales, right? So they have terrible skills, but at least they make it up with really bad activity, really low activity. That's probably not going to be super successful, right? There are folks in this bucket where I forgot what I used to call this. I'll put a question mark on it. There are folks in this bucket who have very high skill level, low activity. This is really, really rare, right? This is the sniper. Right? This is someone whose sales skills are so great that they can afford to have low activity. They're not terribly motivated about advancing their career or making a ton of money, and so instead they do kind of the bare minimum to hit to get over their quota, and they actually don't have to do a lot of activity to do it because they are so effective at closing everything they go after. This is very rare. It's very rare that you end up with someone at high skill level and low activity. There are a couple in the company here who have survived, right? There are a couple snipers in the company who have survived, but they're a little bit of a problem to any sales force because they're kind of demotivating to a lot of folks around them. They close almost everything they call, but they don't make a lot of calls. And so they're not really very good team members, right? They can be good for a company because they can drive really good revenue, but they're not terribly good for team dynamics. And so if they're of the wrong personality type, we actually move these folks out of the organization as well. But like I said, a couple of them have survived over time because they're of the right personality type to fit in with the team, despite the fact that they're kind of low activity, right? This is really rare. We don't see a lot of these. And I've run big sales organizations, and you come across these only a few times in a career, right? There are folks who are in the high skill, high activity, right? And these are obviously stars, right? So they got great skills, they put a lot of activity against it, and they kill it, right? They do really, really well. The reality is that I don't know what percentage of folks are in this bucket, but it's probably 20% of sales folks, right? I bet it's about 20% of sales folks. I don't know, maybe, that's a guess, right? This is the bucket that lots of folks fall into, right? They make lots of phone calls. The close rates are not great, but they make up for it with because their skills aren't great, but they make up for it with activity, right? And you can survive. You can spend an entire career in this bucket and be very, very successful. The only difference between the person in this bucket, though, and the person in this one is kind of just how much time and energy they put against building their skills, the type of stuff you're learning here, and in the end, to be honest, they're at the level of their success and the level of their compensation, right? So the reality is these guys aren't working any harder. They've just spent the time to hone their skills. Here, folks in this bucket are spending time running to make up for the lack of skills, right? And so there's lots of good activity, which any good salesperson needs, but their close rates are so low that they don't do nearly as well as these folks. So you guys need to balance off activity. So the moral of the story is you're probably not this person, right? You better not bank on being this person. Let's hope you're not this person because you're probably in the wrong career, right? The moral of the story is you better be on this side of the 2x2 matrix, and you should be working constantly to move your way up from a skills standpoint, all right? I can't do anything about moving you horizontally along here. That's kind of your own motivation and your own drive. But what the organization does owe you is the opportunity to move you up vertically, right? So that's both your dedication to kind of learning your skill and your craft, but it's also us providing you the right resources and the right leadership to give you the skills you need to move up into the upper right-hand corner here. Does that make sense? Right? I can't affect this, and I've learned over the years, you know, ask anyone who's run a sales team, it's pretty much impossible to move someone along the horizontal axis. I can't force you to work harder. I can't make you motivated to work harder. I can't give you the drive to work harder. What I can give you, if you've got the drive, what we can give you is the skill set to make you that much more successful. You can live down here, but why live down here with the exact same activity as you could be up here, as long as you're putting in a little bit of time to really hone your skills? Okay? My guess is that most people in this room are either already here, or most of them are actually in this bucket, right? You're in this bucket. So if you find yourself falling off on activity, there's not much I can do, and you're not going to be terribly successful, particularly with, you know, skill sets where they probably are for you. But if you're already here and you can put in the activity, then this is actually a fairly easy migration, as long as you're willing to work at it. Okay?